Yeah, their playbook was Black people fighting in the streets all summer. They wanted a summer of violence. They wanted all those video clips of Black people being violent. And the entire Black community collectively in one voice heard their ancestors say, rest, stay home. Don't go out in the streets. They collectively heard it, and they've all listened, and it was right. They have been dealing with a apartheid fascist state for generations, even worse than an apartheid state. Like in the slavery era, that was like they have been in an abusive narcissistic relationship with the government for generations, since the first person unwillingly stepped foot on this land. They have studied their abusers, because that's what you have to do. When you are a victim to an abuser, you have to study their every movement as a form of self-protection. And they have done that. They didn't have to learn it as they go when he took power in November. They already knew. What do you do when your abuser all of a sudden you hear him walking on the hallway and his footsteps are a little bit off? His breathing's a little bit off. You hide. You go and you hide in your closet. You go out the window and run. You get somewhere safe. They have gone somewhere safe. They're not, resting is not passive. That is not passive protest. That is active protest. And it is working more than anything else that has been being done. It is more effective than I can think of anything else that is being done right now. Resting to me means staying home, saving your money, not spending your money at corporate stores, not, buying local, shopping at local stores, going to local restaurants, supporting local businesses, building community, saving your dollars. We brought down Target, and that was 100% led by Black people, by the Black community, 100%. We made Disney come to their knees with just money in a weekend. Like, that is where it hits them where they hurt. We do not need people in the streets being violent. If you feel the call to be out there marching, go march. Do what you feel called to do, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they wanted summer of 2020 visuals, and they didn't get it. Summer's over. They never got those visuals. I guarantee they have some strategy book and they're like, summer of violence, martial law, we can bring troops in everywhere. Every time they bring troops in somewhere that is shown to be peaceful, people wake up. Every time somebody wakes up. It's a snowball. So people that are resting are literally doing the most right now. So thank you for everyone that engaged with that post and are commenting on it. Those comments are literally like, I'm glad I've introduced some people to the term gray rocking. I'm glad I've put words to what people have been feeling, and that people in the Black community are validating that, like, finally a white lady gets it. Because that literally makes me emotional. Nothing makes me more emotional than getting validation from, especially a Black woman. If you come in my comments and say, you get it, I get emotional every time. So thank you for that. Because you all know, nobody knows the most besides, like, the smartest, most aware people in the world are Black women. And you will never change my mind on that. Because they have to be. And they are. So thank you for validating my last post, because that's how I've been feeling about it ever since I first saw people saying, we're sitting this one out. That has meant a lot. That moved me a lot.
Oh yeah guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing good. Despite centuries of slavery, segregation, systemic racism, economic exclusion, mass incarceration, and ongoing social injustice, Black Americans continue to thrive. They create, they build, and lead. So this reality is leaving many white Americans in disbelief, especially those who are taught that oppression was supposed to permanently break Black people. So guys, in this video we are just here to unpack why Black Americans are still standing strong despite relentless obstacles, and why this truth is uncomfortable for a society that benefited from Black suffering while denying Black humanity. From the cultural influence and economic innovation to resilience rooted in community, history, and resistance, this discussion challenges dominant narratives and exposes the myths surrounding Black survival. So guys, we are also going to examine how the Black Americans' excellence is often questioned, minimized, or resented instead of respected, and why thriving under pressure is not an accident but a testament to strength, strategy, and unbreakable spirit. So guys, it is not about seeking approval, it is about truth, history, and reality. Kindly watch, listen, and reflect. Guys, let's get into the remaining clips. I'll be back with more commentaries. Subscribe for more unapologetic conversations. Comment thoughtfully and respectfully.
If you are a white American, I need you to please listen to me. Just because you and I have never experienced something does not make it untrue. The experience of black and brown people on this soil since before our nation was formed is so intense, so heartbreaking, and so different from what you and I and our lineage have experienced here. Just so different. And at the core of our alienation from one another across racial lines is our hesitancy to see America through their lens. Because it's not the America we were brought up to see. But here's the thing. Just because we don't see it doesn't make it go away. And that underbelly of America is creeping up on us. A white woman was shot and killed by ICE, and there isn't going to be an investigation into her death. Just let that sink in. That doesn't happen in white America, or it didn't happen in white America until now. And if you want a glimpse into that other America, we just released a documentary called The Sins of Our Fathers, and I really believe it will be helpful to understand that dark underbelly of America that's actually been here all along.
So this comment has to be acknowledged. Not only were there slave owners like 5 generations back, but segregation only ended 61 years ago. When segregation ended, which, mind you, was based in white supremacy, do you truly believe that white supremacy ended with it? Do you think the minds of everybody that experienced segregation, that supported segregation, changed because it ended? Do you think they suddenly brought their kids into this world, my parents' generation, and really raised them to love everybody, regardless of their skin color? Do you really think they took the time to address their minds, to get rid of all of the negative views that they had towards Black people and people of color? Do you think they sat there and they dissected their thought process? Or do you think it was just easier for them to pass their thought processes down to their kids? We still have police officers that lived through the times of segregation, judges that lived through those times, and police officers and judges that are the children of people that lived through those times and supported those times. And that would be why you have racial profiling when it comes to police officers. That would be why you have racist juries. That would be why you still have people that are refusing to hire people that are not white. That would also be why you have white people who say, oh, Black people and people of color are disproportionately in prisons because the color of their skin, because they're inherently bad, without taking the time to do the research and figuring out the root causes of why this is. It would also be white privilege, why you're not taking the time to figure out why this is. If it doesn't personally affect you, you don't have to understand it. I'm just gonna say this. If you believe in God, if you're a Christian, and you believe that people, human beings, are created in the image of God, but you choose to dislike, to not listen to the experiences of people that don't have white skin, if you choose not to truly, fully love people without white skin, I want you to understand this. 10% of the world's population is white. That means you only love 10% of your God. Can a God accept a human being into heaven who only loves 10% of him, who will only fight for and protect 10% of him? Because to me, that doesn't make sense.
One of the biggest things that I realized that nobody's talking about when it comes to segregation is that we don't mind it. It's white people that got the problem. Because when y'all realize that we literally don't need y'all get mad. We've created thousands of thriving Black cities and countries. Because we can do it without y'all just don't get it. Y'all need to be all up in our space and all up in our mix. For what reason? Because when I've gone to primarily white spaces, I'm sorry, but I'm not impressed. But y'all can't say the same for us. Like, there's been over 100 massacres on black cities and towns simply because y'all are outraged that we can thrive, that we can come together, and that we can do things no matter what the circumstances are. Because last time I checked, it's white people that mainly benefit from government assistance. But y'all love to say it's us, don't y'all? But instead, we can take the bare minimum and create enormous things. Can you not do the same? I guess not, without the government's help.
And another thing, on top of us being prisoners of war and enslaved on our own land. Oh, before I even go any further, TikTok, this is only for entertainment purposes only and educational purposes only. Do your own research and use your own discernment. Anything you take from this video is at your own risk. On top of us being prisoners of war and enslaved on our own land, I done came across some things on my feed talking about how Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and there was like a lot of ignorant comments saying that yeah, we was free because of the whitey people. So y'all really think that they let us free just because of Abraham Lincoln and that these whitey people had compassion and just woke up one day and had morals? Y'all didn't think we was fighting back, huh? And there was so many wars and rebellions and revolts leading up to our freedom, they had no choice but to let us free. Our freedom was inevitable because we was tearing this whole shit apart from the inside out, down to the rebellions, down to the wars, down to the revolts, down to the runaways, down to the poisonings, down to the whole plantations going up in flames. We was burning everything down. Yeah, they don't want to teach you the real history. They only teach you about the Civil War. But there was many wars and rebellions even before that one. Yeah, let's get into it. Starting with the most famous one. Y'all probably heard of him somewhere in your textbooks. Nat Turner. He led a violent revolt, unaliving.
So guys, you know there is a question many white Americans keep asking, sometimes out loud, sometimes silently, and sometimes in disbelief. How are black Americans still thriving? And after slavery, you know, after Jim Crow, after lynchings, redlining, mass incarceration, police violence, economic sabotage, and constant cultural erasure, the system was designed to crush black people completely. And yet, black Americans are still here. They are still building. They are still creating, still influencing the world. And you know that reality does not inspire everyone. For some, it's deeply unsettling. Yes, let's be honest about something uncomfortable. The American system never expected black Americans to survive with dignity, let alone thrive. The expectation was permanent dependency, permanent inferiority, permanent silence. Oppression was not just about control, it was about breaking the spirit. But what many fail to understand is this, that oppression can restrict access, but it does not automatically erase intelligence, creativity, or willpower. So when black Americans succeed without permission, when they succeed without fairness, without equal resources, it disrupts a long-held belief that suffering was supposed to make black people disappear. Instead, it made them sharper. So when black Americans thrive, it is often explained away as lack, talent, or exceptions. Yes, so what's rarely acknowledged is strategy, that black communities built parallel systems when they were locked out of white ones. Churches became banks, music became economic power, culture became currency, community became survival infrastructure. Thriving was not accidental, it was intentional. So every success came with resistance, adaptation, and sacrifice that history books rarely mention. So the disbelief is not about success, it is about how that success happened without approval from the system that tried to erase it. Yeah. And another uncomfortable truth, black Americans shape global culture. The music, fashion, language, sports, art, social movements, even while being criminalized, while they are being mocked or feared, black culture continues to dominate worldwide, and that contradiction creates resentment. How can a people constantly portrayed as broken also be the blueprint? Because culture does not require permission, it spreads where authenticity exists, and that's what many struggle to accept. You can oppress bodies, but culture moves freely. Yes, let's be clear, Thriving does not mean untouched. Black Americans carry generational trauma. Pain did not disappear. Loss did not vanish. Families were destroyed. Lives were stolen. Resilience is often romanticized to avoid accountability. Thriving happened despite trauma, not because trauma was harmless. So disbelief becomes dangerous when it turns into denial. When people say, if they are doing fine now, then the past does not matter. It matters. It always has. Yes, the disbelief comes from a lie taught for generations that Black Americans were inferior, dependent, and incapable without white control. Thriving exposes that lie, and when a lie collapses, discomfort follows. Instead of asking, how did Black Americans survive this? Many will ask that why didn't it destroy them? That question says more about the system than the people who endured it. Yes, Black Americans thriving is not a mystery. It's the result of resistance, community, adaptability, creativity, and an unbroken will to exist with dignity. The real question is not why Black Americans are still thriving. The real question is why a society built on their suffering is shocked they did not disappear. History tried to erase them. The present still tries to limit them, and yet they continue to rise. Not for validation, not for permission, but because survival itself became a form of power. Yes, so guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of the video. This video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. If this conversation made you uncomfortable, that's okay. Growth starts there. Like, share, and comment your thoughts respectfully, and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more unapologetic discussions grounded in history and truth. Thank you. Peace be with you until the next one.